I'm best known as the filmmaker behind a 1980s cult horror film called Slime City, and as the author of a 2004 novel called Personal Demons, and I have a new multimedia project coming out called Johnny Gruesome. My interest in horror started when I was as young as 4 years old. My mother raised me alone. She used to take me to the movies. She would buy me comic books on the way home from the movies. As I got older, I always knew I wanted to be a storyteller of some sort. It was probably around 7th or 8th grade when Star Wars came out that I knew, oh, I want to direct. But the love of horror was constant through all that time. I had stopped going to film school after a year. It just wasn't for me, and I was really burned out working at a movie theater on 181st and Broadway between Harlem and the Bronx. It was 3.5 hours of travel time, and I just wasn't having time to write. So I decided, as a lot of kids do when they don't know what they're going to do after college, I decided to go home, chill out, and write a screenplay without any distractions. So I came home to Fredonia, and being back where I went to high school elicited, I suppose, a lot of emotions, and subconsciously made me start drawing on my high school experiences as I was writing Johnny Gruesome. I start the novel off in the parking lot. I thought it was a good way to introduce all the various cliques, because that's what high school is all about, really, is different cliques. In this case, Johnny Gruesome is definitely sort of in the pothead hoodlum group. And I start the story off with a fight, which results in Johnny getting suspended from school. So in the story, Johnny Gruesome returns as a zombie, and he decides that he wants to get revenge not just on the people who murdered him, but on everyone who ever even looked at him the wrong way in high school. And the first person that he takes down is a jock named Todd Kumler, who's the same character that he gets in the fight with. And he traps Todd in the gymnasium alone and cuts off his head and strings him up from the gymnastic rings. The next morning, the student population finds his headless corpse, and the protagonists open up their locker and find Todd Kumler's head impaled on a coat hook staring out at them. So what they have to do is they take the head and they cut open a basketball and stuff the head in the basketball and wrap up the basketball with tape and pump it up so that it looks like a regular basketball, and then they smuggle it outside of the school and dispose of it in the fields behind the school. So when I wrote the story of Johnny Gruesome, this bridge became a central image in the story. The four main characters, who are Johnny Gruesome, who the jocks call Johnny Gruesome, that's where he gets that nickname. His best friend, Eric Carter, who's the hero. Johnny's girlfriend, Karen, who's sort of a heavy metal slut. And the protagonist, whose name is Gary, who has the hots for Karen. He's the one who ends up killing Johnny. They go on a joyride in Johnny's car called the Deathmobile, and they're out drinking and getting high and acting like very bad high school students. And things get out of control, and Gary ends up killing Johnny. He strangles him with a tire chain, and they pull over to the bridge, and he pulls Johnny out of the car and basically strangles him right here. This is the Forest Lawn Cemetery in Fredonia. When I was a kid, this was a great place to hang out. My friends and I used to walk around and see if we could find the oldest gravestone. And of course, like many of the other locations in the town that were a big part of me growing up, it is featured in the novel Johnny Gruesome. Johnny is buried in the cemetery, and in one scene the hero and a teacher go to the grave and dig it up to confirm that he's not where he belongs. And of course, his real idea is just to take the whole town down with him. In terms of Slime City and Johnny Gruesome, both of the characters were pretty much based on different parts of my own personality or friends that I've had. I've certainly taken bosses that I disliked and turned them into characters and have done horrible things to them. It's a nice way to get even with people who've done you wrong at one point in your life. This is Johnny Gruesome's house. My friend's mother was Puerto Rican, his father was Irish, and she was very religious. So at the top of the stairs there are all sorts of religious totems, or there were when they lived there. And in the story, the hero realizes when he goes up there that the cross is missing, because there's just the exposed space with the dust on it. And what's happened to that cross is Johnny has paid a visit to a priest who tried to molest him when he was a boy, and he takes that cross and shoves it up his ass. Leaves the guy alive, though. Johnny Gruesome was always part of my au revoir, so to speak. He was my favorite character, and while I knew he was one of my creations, really nobody else did.
It's gratifying that the character is finally going to be in a form that the public can react to in some way, that he's not just my little character, that he's out there for other people to appreciate or not appreciate. And now that he is part of the horror world, so to speak, I'm comfortable putting him away and moving on to the other projects that I wanted to do before he jumped back into my life.